I felt I needed to make this video because legitimately this has been the greatest Wrestlemania like week since like that thing has really blown up. Like, especially if we just count it from like when TakeOver was a thing back in 32. There's just nothing compares to what has happened this week. Like, for me, I don't care about like anything else. Like, for me, I've never felt a week in wrestling like this. A weekend, but week at the same time, like this. Friday night, TakeOver, Johnny Gargano wins the NXT Championship. And I'm going to put my reaction, if I still have the video on my phone, which I'm pretty sure I do, but if I don't, this is going to look stupid, but pretty sure I do, so I'm going to put the video in, like, here. Tap, 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 tap. Come on. No! Yes. Tap, 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 tap. Let's go! He finally did it. He finally did it. This. Finally. Bro. "10 years of supporting this man. And it pays off. This moment has been worth all those 10 years of tracking down Dragon Gate, of everything. Either staying up late on Sundays to watch him on cable access. 10 years. Oh my gosh. Bro, Candace in there. This stuff. No, fuck off, Adam Cole. No one needs to see that. This is what Brooklyn deserves. Screw y'all. But, oh my gosh. Bro, Candace. Stop. You'll never tear apart. Yeah, the whole Undisputed Era is canceled for this match. No, forget them. I don't fool with this. But, oh my gosh. Johnny is finally NXT champion. I just don't know. As I said in that thing, like, I've been following Johnny Gargano since 2009. Like, that he has been just such a huge part of my wrestling fandom. I fell in love with independent wrestling because of Johnny Gargano. And watching him on Pro Wrestling Ohio just made me like wrestling outside of WWE and TNA. And like, I knew about ROH, but I had no way to watch it, so I just didn't care about it. But I saw the benefit and I don't know what word, like it's on the tip of my tongue, but I cannot figure out what I'm trying to say, but like I saw why we need wrestling outside of WWE. And following him from there to then tracking down Dragon Gate and then finding out like, oh, PWG is actually pretty good. When I say that, I mean at the time I started watching it, it was legitimately the best wrestling out there. Like when you have guys like Johnny, Joey Ryan, the Young Bucks, Candice, so many others, Kevin, so many wrestlers just killing it in PWG. And Johnny's the biggest reason for me doing that, or finding it. And I got to see him win the NXT title, and that was just the start of many amazing moments in this weekend. Then you get to Saturday. You know, say everything about like Ring of Honor's portion of the Supercard. Matt Taven is legitimately one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, like just all time. He's maybe the nicest wrestler I've met that I like don't really have a meet and greet or a meeting experience just at all. Cause like I've got a tweet and I'll post it in the description about like why, or just the video of Matt Taven pointing me out, cause it was 2015, like it was February of 2015, maybe like the last day of January, I don't remember the exact date. Ring of Honor was running Dayton. I was there, like standing room only, like standing behind like all the chairs, and Mike Bennett was in the ring wrestling Tommaso. Of course, Maria and Taven were out there. Mike has the ref like distracted or whatever, and Tommaso's on the second rope. Maria slaps him, and Taven like gets all cocky, puts the fours up, and like I'm standing behind everybody in my Kingdom shirt, the fours up, and like he sees that as he's finishing up, and he's like, "You, nice shirt," and that made my day. Like that made the just trip to Dayton worth it. But then at the Dayton venue that they ran, wrestlers had to like walk out into the crowd if they like wanted food or a drink. And so most fans are like cool about just not bugging them, besides like, you know, a quick hi, great match or whatever, like as the wrestlers are walking. Like I was always a person that like I'd never even talk to them just because I know they wanted to get like out whatever they wanted and back. But just a red like a guy in a red hooded sweatshirt like pats me on the back as like he walks to the food stuff, and like I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, I saw it and it was like the Kingdom, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, it took a second for my mind to process, and then he walks back and I see it's Matt Taven. And he like comes up to me and he thanks me for supporting, because like keep in mind like he's got the hood up, so he's trying to like be discreet getting in now, but he thanks me for like being a supporter of the Kingdom and wearing the shirt, and just he was so cool. And that moment, like I was 15 at the time, that moment like cemented Matt Taven as one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And I've been on the Kingdom train since that moment. I mean, I was before, but like that was my spot in the front. I'm never getting off this train, like no matter how many people think that Taven's bad, or he shouldn't be a world champion, or he doesn't deserve this over Marty. He should never have wrestled into the Garden. No matter how many people say that stupid shit, I'm never going to, like, give them the time of day. I'm just ignoring that shit. Because Matt Taven is one of the coolest people in professional wrestling. And when I got to see him Saturday night in Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous venue, on top of a ladder 25 years after Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon revolutionized the ladder match, in that building, I get to see Matt Taven on top of a ladder with the Ring of Honor World Championship. I'm freaking out like a kid. And words can't describe how I was feeling. Like, I was going nuts. I went possibly a little too nuts. Sorry to my friends over at Podswoggle. You know. If you listen to Podswoggle, you're gonna know real soon why I'm apologizing. But yeah, that was seriously just an incredible moment. Then we kick it off to, I don't know if I can really call it the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Like, I feel like 30 still fights everything. But when I sit and think about it, 30 had one moment, really. Well, two. Maybe three if you count the Andre Battle Royal. But, like, 30 had Bryan, the streak, then that Battle Royal. But overall, the show was still itself very good. But, like, and then, of course, like, 17, 19 are always going to be, like, highly considered amazing shows, and they should. But, like, this is definitely the most feel-good WrestleMania of all time. Like, that's, I think, almost consensus. Like, I think everybody agrees that if it's not the most feel-good, it's definitely top 3. Like, we started off the night, most people are, like, pretty indifferent about the Cruiserweight match, like, because Buddy Murphy's really good. And then, like, most people just are about Tony Nese, but they're in Jersey. It's a New York, New Jersey WrestleMania. Tony Nese got the win, started off hot. Then Carmella from Boston, or from Mass, but plays a character from Staten Island, got the win. Then Kurt Hawkins, 2016, like October of 2016, the man's last win. He has lost 269 straight matches. Is granted an opportunity because the Revival accept Hawkins and Ryder's tag team, or the just challenge for the tag titles. And after 269 straight losses, Kurt Hawkins pins, I don't even remember who, I think it was Scott Dawson, because it really should have been Scott Dawson, because of how much people liked Dash Wilder. But, oh shoot, and I gotta get into something else before I get into the rest of the show. But anyway, Hawkins and Ryder win the tag titles in New York, New Jersey. Hawkins with the Jets gear. Ryder with the, yeah, we weren't supposed to be teaming, or at least in a tag title match here, gear. But it still was incredible. I can't wait until not this week's podcast, but next week's, when hopefully Hawkins gives him shit about that. like that there was just that huge. That bit of the pre-show was huge for me because Hawkins and Ryder are one of my favorite tag teams of all time. Ryder, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Just getting to see them do that. Like, no one in the last 5 years, no one stumbles ass backwards into a WrestleMania title win, better than Zack Ryder. Just, I have 2 plaques. I'm gonna have to add one. Right, I'm gonna have to move that to the side and add one. But Ryder, King. And then we had the Andre Battle Royal, which people are split on. I liked it because, you know, you can't have everything super serious. You need some comedic break. I still despise that the Hardys were in that match when the Thrown Together tag team were competing for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which is the show the Hardys are on. But I'm not going to get into that because it's a positivity video. Shoot, I had something I need to get into. I'll get into it before the main card, hopefully. But then Strowman wins, which Strowman should have won 2 years ago, as big of a Mojo guy as I am, which that pisses me off. But again, the fact that Mojo wasn't on this sucks, but it's positivity video. Yeah, Braun winning was cool. Colin Jost in the Odell Beckham Browns jerseys, just, that was amazing. The heat, beautiful. But yeah, pre-show, very good pre-show. Like, you could spend 2 hours being bored when that was very entertaining. But before I get into the main card, Saturday night, also, if the Hardys are my favorite team of all time, the just 2 guys of DX are probably my second or third. I don't know. They're up there. Because Shawn Michaels and Triple H are legitimately 2 reasons I even became a fan of wrestling back in 2006 when I started watching. But D-Generation X gets inducted to the Hall of Fame. That speech was hilarious. Just, I don't think I went more than a minute without laughing the whole time. It was the perfect Hall of Fame speech. Anyway, WrestleMania. WrestleMania starts. Say what you will about that opening promo, because I'm not going to talk about it. Just because, like, I'm still indifferent on it, because, you know, Big E might have tweeted some stuff, but it's still got work to go. A public apology about the apology would be a lot better. Just saying. Alexa Bliss is the host. She comes out, starts the show. Columbus represent. And then Heyman comes out. Says if Brock ain't main eventing, he's first so he can leave. Well, Brock gets that ass beat, and Seth Rollins is the new Universal Champion. And Seth is a guy I've connected to a lot since 2016 when I tore my ACL. Literally, like, almost a year. Like, our journeys were almost, like, a year separated, and it was... I just have felt for him since, and I've always been a big Seth Rollins fan, but since then he's become one of my top favorites. And to see him finally come from, because the cash-in was before ACL tear, so it was like, that was still a thing, but like, this is his first big moment. Like, getting to see him win the IC title in the Open last year was amazing for me. But the world title, incredible. And oh my gosh, could go into a lot here. That happened. I'm just gonna like cut, like, not say everything just because like so much happened at WrestleMania. Then, next biggest moment, Kofi Kingston 11 years after his debut, wins the WWE title. In what is the greatest WrestleMania moment of all time. I don't care. Like, I'm just going to flat out say that. It is. Everybody knew it was happening when, like, the pedestal people saw, or, like, yeah, the pedestal, like, people saw that with the title under the thing, but it played off well as, like, Bryan, the title, his eco-friendly title was set on it, because I didn't think anything of it. Like, at first when I saw it, I thought that, you know, the just regular WWE title that it ended up being was under there, and then the box had a New Day version of it. So, like, that's just what went through my head. But then when Bryan said it on there, I was like, okay, that makes sense. The pedestal, throw everybody off, like, 8 times. But no, and it really was just, like, the title was under there, and they just put the eco-friendly one over it. Still worked. Still amazing. Yeah, that moment, just the genuine tears on Xavier Woods' face. Like, maybe the greatest image on WWE television. Like, I was tearing up, like, when the ref smacked the 3rd count, or, like, on 3. Like, tears started welling, because, like, I was watching the watch along. Street Profits, Bianca Belair, Wrestle and Flow were in there. Also, Johnny, Candice were all, like, on the watch along. And the reaction from everybody in there was just amazing. But then Xavier Woods, they catch Xavier Woods bawling. And that's when it started, just, like, straight up, like, I was crying. Like, it was incredible. I've been a fan from Kofi since the main roster debut. I have wanted that moment since the main roster debut. And for, like, 8 or so years now, just never thinking it would happen. For it to finally happen is incredible. We got Cena, Doctor of Thugonomics return. That was very great. The Usos retained. Great. And I know this is out of order, but I'm just, like, trying to, like, basically Iconics heel team, but it still felt like a feel-good moment, so there. And Brett coming out with the Divas of Doom. And then Finn, the Demon, winning the IC title. Corbin was legit, like, the only just, like, downer. And then there was also, like, Batista's retirement, but, like, Triple H. Ric Flair getting that revenge was another, like, feel-good moment. But then, the main event. I have been on Twitter an outspoken, I'll just say it, hater of the man character. I still do not like the man character. I wish she would do something other than deepen her voice shittily in a promo. Talk about how her opponent was handed everything and how she had to earn it. Like, literally every promo since August has been that. But no matter what that is, I am still a Becky Lynch fan at heart. Ronda Rousey, legitimately, like, just my favorite athlete of all time. Maybe under Tim Tebow, but I don't know. It's, like, neck and neck. Just sheer athlete. And then Charlotte, probably just, I will say she's, to me, the best women's wrestler in WWE history, just all around. First women's main event. Those three. all deserving. Becky, arguably the hottest just superstar in the company. Like, nobody was getting reactions like her until Kofi Mania became a thing in February. Like, that just, the whole thing worked. Charlotte, the perfect foil to Becky Lynch. And of course, Ronda, the only reason this women's revolution ever happened. Before she even stepped foot in the door, she kicked it down for these women by, like, showing people that women can be just as successful as, of, like, what am I trying to say? Just successful draws as men can be. When she was putting out some of the best pay-per-views UFC had seen. And she just killed it. Made people take women in that role seriously. And you got to see. And then, you know, Dirty fans, you see that. And then you don't like how the Bellas, how AJ, how Paige, how Natalya, Alicia Fox, just all these women are treated like shit, where they get like maybe 3 minutes at most on TV, and maybe 1 4-minute match on a pay-per-view. At that same time, you see those two things, and it's like, if UFC, Dana White, like a year before Ronda Rousey ever showed up, said women would never fight on the UFC card. If we can see that happen, let's get that shit over here. And so those two things like parallel. And then it helps a lot that you have the 4 horsewomen of WWE just chilling in NXT, like, with Emma. Like, we're the best wrestlers in the world. Like, no women's qualifier. We're just as good as some of the guys in the world are. And they are. So you have that happening in Orlando at the time. And, well, not the NXT still in Orlando, but you know what I meant. That's happening there. And it's just the whole company thing of, yeah, they are good. And then TakeOver Brooklyn happens. And that's perhaps the greatest women's match in WWE history. Like, that last woman standing between Charlotte and Becky is incredible. But I'd still think I'd argue just above for Becky or Bayley and Sasha. You've got all that happening. And Ronda, like, over is a huge part of it. I don't want to say, like, she's fully responsible. I think I did, like, pretty much say that. I don't want to say she's fully responsible because, like, all the women in WWE did their part and, like, they're huge reasons for this. I don't want to take away from them. But, like, had Ronda not been doing that in UFC, this stuff doesn't happen as fast as it happened, I guess is the best way to word that or describe it. And we're here. 35th WrestleMania. That's kind of crazy to me to think about. Like, just hearing that. 35th WrestleMania. You have maybe, like, one other time I could think that, like, women probably could have main evented. Like, 32, that triple threat could have main evented over Roman, Hunter, as much as I love both of those guys. But again, that was at the start of this whole revolution. Or I guess they call it evolution now. It's still whatever. It was at the start of all that. And the moment, like, this, nothing, I don't want to say nothing gets better because, like, don't want to say this is also, like, oh, it's just, it gets worse from here, because, like, no, it's, we've reached peak quality of the women can have done everything that the guys have done. And that's main event WrestleMania. And despite botched ending, God, like, I feel absolutely terrible for Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky, because they don't deserve that. Everything that I just talked about for, I think, like, the last 5 minutes, for all of that to be wasted by a screw up by a ref. But at the end of the day, thankfully, the right outcome happened. As much as I would have loved Sasha or Ronda to win even, the right outcome for everything in this WrestleMania, as I said, the most feel-good WrestleMania of all time, needed Becky to win here at the end, and she did. Her making Charlotte tap, probably, not even probably, is better than whatever happened. But at the end of the night, Becky Lynch held up the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. And again, I've been a huge hater of the man character, but I still love this because Becky needed it. I still like Becky as a wrestler. And then the Irish in me coming out saying, damn right, an Irish woman is holding the 2 titles at the end of the 35th WrestleMania. It was incredible. 82,000 people watching that is... it is even more bittersweet now, but I know, like, there was just absolutely no way that I logistically could have gone to WrestleMania this year. Because even if I saved enough money to go to all the access, to go to all the WWE shows that I wanted to, getting around that mess, I just couldn't have done. And so it hurts to have missed out on Johnny's win, Kofi's win, that main event, Seth Rollins, everything I said. But it also made it a lot easier to sit here for the first time since going and be like, okay, I can sit and watch this because it is the best. But holy shit, I just went like a half hour. I loved WrestleMania. I loved this whole week. I'm excited for the next 3 nights of shows even. I pray and hope that I can find a way into Tampa. I don't know though. But yeah. I don't know when the next video is gonna be. Cause right now it's debating on, cause my work fucking sucks. It's a debate on if I go to Ring of Honor Sunday and get my picture with Matt Taven and the world title, which, thinking about that, again, this smile is just insane thinking about that. Oh gosh, that's everything I've ever wanted. But then there's also SmackDown coming the 30th, and Kofi's world champion. Now, here's the deal. If Kofi ends up losing the title before the 30th, I'm going to flip shit, because right now that's my leaning, is going to SmackDown, seeing Kofi as the world champion. The WWE champion, not even just world. But, yeah. I guess I should have prefaced this by saying just probably want to just put this on the background and find something to do, because I did not realize I was going to go full half hour. Holy shit. Yeah, but so maybe a video like sometime next week, maybe not until like the beginning of May. I don't know. I'll see you guys whenever that is though.